Been doing a little bit of research the last few days on life expectancy. Now, I'm an Aussie, and here in Australia, the average life expectancy is about 83 years. A little bit more if you're female, a little bit less if you're male. Maybe that means the ladies drive better than us guys, I don't know, but their life expectancy is that little bit longer. But I dug a little bit deeper, and I found another stat that I think is worth bringing out. And that is that your health expectancy is different to your life expectancy. What is your health expectancy? Your health expectancy is the age that you're expected to live without relying heavily upon doctor's visits, medications, treatments, and hospitalisation. In other words, the period of time you're expected to live without having to deal with fairly major or chronic disease. Would it surprise you to know that your health expectancy in Australia is somewhere around the age of 66? Life expectancy 83, health expectancy 66. Can you see the gap? What does that gap mean? Well, to put it as simply as I can, it means that according to the average figures, the official figures, I've looked them up, you can expect to have 66 somewhat healthy years, followed by 17 years of declining health, doctors, medications, pills, treatments, hospitalisations, and on it goes. 17 years. So I'm going to live 66 healthy years, and then I'm going to have 77 years of being really incapacitated because of my health. Incredible, isn't it? We wait all these years to retire. Most of us retire about 66. And we give all of our best years to some employer somewhere, and then when we do finally retire, we've got nothing but doctors and hospitals and so on. I'm 68, and just 1 year ago, I started Carnivore. But at the time I started Carnivore, I was headed for that same scenario. I was quite obese. I had a list of health conditions as long as my arm here, and I was headed for a retirement years that were filled with doctors and pills. That was my outlook, that was my prospect, but it has changed. I made some changes to my diet and to my lifestyle, and now my outlook, I believe, is much different to what it would have been back then. So what causes this decline in our later years? The years after 66, if you can believe the stats. I believe there's a number of key factors that contribute. Number one would have to be our diet, because we're eating a crazy diet filled with processed food and sugar and junk, and no wonder we get sick when we eat that sort of crap. So processed food would be my number one. We also live in a society today where most people are highly stressed. All my friends, all the people around me, I see they're suffering from stress. So many of them. So many of them are going to see psychologists and therapists to try and navigate the stress in their life. Then I look at these people and I notice that they're very sedentary. They don't move much. They spend their life sitting on a couch, watching a screen or playing with a phone or something like that. They're very rarely outside, and if they are, it's just from the car to the shop and back to the car. The concept of walking and hiking and running or jogging or doing anything outside, getting in a canoe like I like to do, it's foreign to so many of these people. Not only that, but they're getting terrible sleep. So many of the people I know, my friends, are not experiencing good sleep. They're going to bed late. They're getting up early. They're tossing and turning all night. They're just not getting quality sleep, and that is a major issue that affects longevity in a huge way. I think I'd throw one other in there, and that is the whole concept of friendship and community. You see, Simon and Garfunkel, was it, who sung, "I am a rock, I am an island. I have no need of friendship. Friendship causes pain." What a lot of garbage that was. We need community. We need connection. Now, whether you get that connection at church in a spiritual community, or you get it in a sporting club, or you get it in the carnivore community, great community, that one, or no matter where you get it, if it's just mates going out and doing something, we need that community. These are all aspects that I think affect our longevity and what sort of quality of life we're going to have in those last 17 years that we've just mentioned. Well, I dug a little bit deeper into my research and I tried to find out whether these people who do not have their last 17 years filled up with doctors and medical conditions and all sorts of treatments, what sort of people are they? Do these people have anything in common? Are there some common traits that these people share? And as you begin to dig into it, you see there certainly are some common traits. So I wanted to quickly give you these to ponder and to think, and maybe use this list as a checklist in your own life. But look, these are the traits that people who live well all of their days and are not bound up by doctors and treatments and what have you, hospital visits. They all have these things in common. I've listed 9 of them here. The first one is that they eat whole food. They eat food that has one ingredient. It doesn't come in a box or a packet. It doesn't have a barcode. If they're carnivore like I am, they would eat animal products. They would eat meat and fish and salt and butter and eggs. That's about it. Look, get rid of the packets. Get rid of the boxes. Get rid of the processed food. Get rid of the sugar. We say it over and over again, but it's going to make a massive difference. If you could just get rid of sugar and processed food and the seed oils in your life, you would be 100 times more healthy than if you didn't take them out at all. The second thing about these people is that they move daily. In other words, they keep moving. They don't necessarily go to gym and do big workouts and lift heavy weights. Some of us do that. But by and large, these people don't do that. But they are moving. They are getting out for a walk. They're getting out in the sunshine. They're getting out in the garden. They're going fishing. They're going to the beach. They're going, they're getting out to national parks and parkland and rivers and lakes, and they're breathing in fresh air and they're moving. This is a huge thing. Miracles happen when you get outside. If you stay inside, no miracle. Get outside and get the miracle. Thirdly, they are socially connected. Now, I was just talking about this a moment ago, so I won't go into that again. But they don't try and go life alone. They do life in community. So important that we find community. Number 4, they've found effective ways to deal with stress in their life. Now, a lot of that might be just to get outside, like we were saying a moment ago, but there's all sorts of things that can help reduce stress in your life. Things like cold plunge, barefoot walking, the practice of earthing, sauna. There's so many things that I've been trying and investigating, and I've found that all of these just make me feel so good and so calm, and I just feel stress melt away with many of these things. But these people all have a way of dealing with stress. The 5th thing these people have in common is that they have some sense of purpose to their life. You ever heard somebody say, life is just meaningless, I don't know why I'm here? That is such a depressing and a deflating way to live, and that mindset will lead not only to depression and stress in your life, but it will lead to chronic illness. You need purpose to be optimal health. You see, health is not just your body, it's body, soul and spirit. And that spirit part of us needs a purpose, needs to know why we're on the planet. We need to know a reason to get out of bed in the morning, what our purpose is, that we're connected to something bigger than us is a way I like to describe it. They have a clear sense of purpose. Number 6, they sleep well and they sleep consistently. Their sleep patterns do not vary up and down. They sleep, they have a great circadian rhythm. Sleep, as I said earlier in the video, is so important. These people are sleeping consistently and sleeping well. Number 7, they do as much as they possibly can to avoid toxins. Do you know that probably don't need to tell you, but the atmosphere that we live in is filled with toxins. We've got pollutants, we've got chemicals in our home, we've got chemicals in stores, we've got chemicals on our food. It's just everywhere. As much as possible, we've got to start using natural ingredients that are free from chemicals. You check the ingredients label on your food that you buy. You need to check it on your shampoo, your conditioner, your washing up liquid. All of these things, they all bring chemicals into the home, and we're breathing this stuff in. And look, if some of this can't be helped because we live where we do live. But look, if you live in a city, if you live where it's big city and freeways and cars, for goodness sake, every now and then, as much as you can, get out of town and get into the country and enjoy the fresh air. Number 8 is that these people cultivate some sort of faith connection. This can mean different things to different people, but these people have some sort of faith base to their life. They believe in something greater than themselves, a little bit like I was saying a couple of minutes ago on having a sense of purpose. For me personally, my faith in God and my commitment to God is a defining aspect of my life. And I find that faith brings into my life a richness and a vitality that I know is part of my health. I know it's part of my joy. I know it's part of my purpose in life. I know it's linked to so many things. I hold on to it, and it is very sacred and very special to me. But people who live free of disease and sickness and constant medical treatments are often people that have discovered a faith, something to believe in, some cause to give themselves to. And then I think number 9 would be that these people make some commitment to understand what metabolic health is. And they make a commitment to get themselves metabolically healthy. Something like 83% of adults today in the Western world are not metabolically healthy. If you'd like to read up more on this, I would recommend Philip Ovadia's book, Stay Off My Operating Table. And he goes in that book through in great detail the 5 markers of metabolic health. When I started Carnivore, I failed all 5 markers of metabolic health, but today I passed them all with flying colours. That's the difference Carnivore makes in making these changes to my life. Metabolic health, you need to know about it, you need to understand it, and you need to get yourself on the right side of the metabolic health ledger. So look, there's 9 habits or 9 aspects, if you like. You could use them, as I said, as a checklist. I'm going to put a download in the description below that you can print out as kind of you can put it on your fridge and use it as a checklist for those 9 things, and just mentally mark them off each day that you're doing those things, because if you do all of those 9 things, you're going to have a huge difference in your health. You're going to have a different last 17 years of your life. This is so critical for me because I'm 68. I am entering those years. I am entering the last 17 years. I have entered the last 17 years of my life expectancy of 83 years. Now, who knows the future anyway? We're only surmising and we're only quoting what the average figures are. We never have a day guaranteed. We never know that we're going to even get through the day that we're in. We've got to live every day. But look, I want to live every day healthy. I want you to be healthy. I don't want a future for you that's filled with all that crap. You could have a different final chapter of your life. Imagine 13 years retired, You finally got there, but you've got full health, you've got full strength, you've got the energy and the stamina to do anything that you want to do. You very rarely, maybe once a year, you go for a checkup, but you never go to a doctor or a hospital, or you never have to have treatments or that. It would make a massive difference. It would be light and day. You've really got to take this seriously, and you've really got to do these things. I would really encourage you to join our Facebook community, the Carnivore Pensioner. It's a fantastic group where we share together. It's a community. Remember what I said about the importance of community, but try and find community where you live as well. But you can join our Facebook group. It's a great group. We've kept all the keyboard warriors out, and it's just a fantastic group. So think about joining that group. Look, I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and be part of our tribe here on the YouTube channel. I'm so encouraged by all of the comments. I read every comment and I respond to every comment, so please comment. But look, thanks for watching today. If you didn't see it, I'm going to leave a link up here to my video that I made quite recently about my 12-month report, where I was 12 months ago and where I was after 12 months on carnivore. For me, it's a gripping story. It changed my life. It just transformed everything, and I share that story there. If you missed it, you can catch it there. But look, thanks for watching today. I'm going to see you on the next video, and until then, keep telling your story and change your life. Make a difference. You can do it. God bless.